Why have I kept it? Because I love coming. You build relationships, friendships. Claire is a body whisperer, and I can't describe it any other way.
Yes.
And you know what your body won't do when you don't do it. And I haven't found anything that equals or surpasses it. And yes, I'm obsessive compulsive about line dancing. It's good, but it doesn't do what Pilates does, many things.
Sounds to me like your line dancing is a celebration of what Pilates enables you to do.
Yes, and I also really like when we go down the coast to walk on the beach. And walking on sand is a trick if your body's not in concert with itself.
Yes.
So that's the other thing that gives me great joy, is to just walk on the sand on the beach.
Welcome to the Pilates Business Podcast, where we're currently exploring how and why a Pilates practice can change lives. In this series, Pilates Can Change Lives, we share real stories told in their own words by clients whose journeys reveal the true impact of what can happen inside your clinical Pilates studio. For clients, these stories of their lived experiences remind us that Pilates is more than a workout. It can be a way to achieve confidence, resilience, and freedom in everyday life. For instructors, these true life stories highlight the power of assessment, habit, and genuine care, which are the things that keep people coming back. And for studios, they show why client retention is the foundation of a thriving business, because long-term success comes from long-term relationships and continuous improvement. Each episode is a window into what's possible when Pilates is done well. And today we're opening that window through the story of Kerry Whitaker, a long-term client with Pilates Can.
When you're on a good thing, stick to it.
When you're on a good thing, stick to it. You might remember that old advertising line in Australia. It's simple, but it's exactly what this episode is about. At 72, living with a connective tissue disorder, Kerry could have given up, drifted away, or stopped moving altogether. Instead, she found her good thing in clinical Pilates, and she's stuck with it now for years of life enjoyment. This is more than a testimony, it's a blueprint for client success and studio growth. How assessment, habit, and community combine to turn any client into long-term success stories. So, if you've ever wondered what really keeps clients firstly satisfied and then overjoyed with your Pilates studio services, this conversation is for you. Welcome to the Pilates Business Podcast, where I'm interviewing long-term Pilates Can client Kerry Whitaker. Kerry, welcome to the Pilates Business Podcast.
I'm delighted to be here.
Well, it is great to have you here, and I'm going to start with a really hard question, and that is to tell us about yourself.
I'm 72. I have a connective tissue disorder or disease, whatever you'd like to call it. I have a passion for line dancing that I can't do at the moment. I like walking and swimming, and I've lived in Canberra 41 years, which was a very great shock to a girl from Queensland and far north Queensland. So I always thought I'd go back, but after 20 years I said to my husband one day, we're never going back. He said, no, we're here. So I'm still here.
And you must like Canberra then. Are there aspects of Canberra that you do like?
I do like daylight saving, which makes me very different from my Queensland cousins who actually hate daylight saving, but I love it. I'm not overly impressed with winter, but I tolerate it because the summer months are just lovely.
And do you head back up to Queensland sometimes for a holiday, particularly during winter perhaps?
I sometimes go either May or August, and I catch up with girlfriends I went to boarding school with, and we have lunch and reminisce about good times.
Excellent. Which boarding school was it up there?
It was a boarding school in Rockhampton because I lived in Gladstone, and it was the correct name, Our Lady of Good Counsel, but being boarders, it was the Old Ladies Gossip Club. So, yeah.
Back in those days, I guess you probably didn't do line dancing, or
No.
did you do another form of dancing?
Yes and no. I was born with club feet, and when I was about 18 months, my mum and dad took me to Brisbane and I had a manipulation, and I had to wear special built-up shoes or bare feet. But for 18 months, I was in plaster. So you can imagine my poor mum had a child in plaster. The treatment in those days was ballet. So not tap, but ballet. Bare feet, built up shoes, and I did that till I was 14.
Very
So
good.
no thongs.
No thongs, bare feet.
Yep. Lucky I lived in a warm climate.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And did that have a good effect, the bare feet, do you think? Was that a good thing to have done?
Really, everybody wore bare feet outside. None of this sandals or whatever. Everybody played
So,
in bare feet.
so you fitted in quite well
Yeah,
in that respect.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the ballet, has that put you in good stead also for other dancing later on?
I think so. I think so. And also, I didn't know I had a connective tissue disorder until I was in my mid-50s. But when you think of it, ballet and Pilates mesh in that it's strength and its posture. Ballet's not quite low impact, but at the level we were doing it was pretty low impact. I think the whole package put me in. And then because youth is bulletproof and ignorant, and you don't know you've got this condition, you do all sorts of things that you really shouldn't do.
So you enjoyed your youth
Oh, absolutely.
and enjoyed Queensland. How long ago was it that you came to Canberra?
41 years ago.
41 years ago.
And that was on a deal with my husband.
A deal.
A deal.
Tell us what the deal was.
The deal. He was a field geologist. So we went from Cairns down to Tasmania in a rural and remote place, really rural and remote. And they were going to move us to even somewhere worse in Tasmania on the west coast. So we decided we'd take a step off the abyss. We had a 2-year-old, and Mum and Dad at that stage were here in Canberra. So I said, if you can find a job that you're home every night, I'll go wherever.
BMO? Was it BMO?
Yeah.
Bureau of Mineral Resources.
Yeah, BMR. He wasn't home every night for the first couple of years, but enough that we could have a better, stable family life. And that was very beneficial.
It would have been. And so he did go on some field trips.
Yeah, 3 months at a time.
3 months at a time up to Northern Territory.
Western Australia mainly.
Okay.
And then I got a job here and my daughter went to school here.
Got more and more entrenched with the Canberra lifestyle.
Yeah, but I was still looking to go back to
Queensland.
Yeah. But the D-Day came, decision day, and he said, I was just waiting for you to work it out in your own time.
Let's talk about that personal Pilates journey and why you sought out Pilates. What brought you to Pilates in the first place?
It was a little bit of a journey because I'd had 2 medical interventions and I was talking to my sports physician about what I think I'd like to do to build strength. And I thought I'd do Tai Chi. And he said, no, Pilates is what you need and what your body needs. He knew somebody who did it. So I went there for about a year or so and I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. I was making no progress. And then life is full of serendipitous moments because I was talking to my daughter about it. And she said, oh, I found this in the mailbox and it was one of your flyers that was dropped in. And at that time you were at Woden. And she said, why don't you try that? And I did. And I was just blown away with how, as a potential client, you were assessed of what your needs were, very individual, and that, yes, we can manage all your conditions. And here I am, almost must be about 8 or 9 years later. I'm still with you guys, and I have never stopped being impressed with the quality of client interaction or service. So that's how I came to do Pilates.
Kerry, that's very nice of you to say that, and we do very much appreciate that. And we feel good about the fact that that process has brought in lovely people like yourself and lovely clients, and we have a beautiful clientele. So it is testament that our processes have worked, even from the flyer in the letterbox back then. It was good enough to attract attention of your daughter, to pass it on to you, to then go through that process of assessment. And then for you to be aware, having spent a year with another organisation by the sounds of things, and to contrast what we could possibly do for you in comparison to what you had done. So you persisted to find what was going to work for you, which is, yeah.
And to make me actually feel that I did have a bit of control over this body that I have learned to live with.
Yes. So tell us more about that, about the condition that you've been grappling with, and how that
I
has...
thought you'd ask me, so I've got a sheet of paper here, that's what it says. Basically, Ehlers-Danlos is a connective tissue disorder or disease, whichever word you... It's an inherited disorder, and there are, at this stage, 13 known variations of it. It affects the connective tissue all over your body, primarily your skin, your joints, and walls of blood vessels, which leads to hypermobility, pain, soft and stretchy skin, and, of course, fatigue. So you'll never run a marathon because... That's just my opinion, because I can't run anyway, but there you go. Yeah, so one of the things Claire has taught me, that people that are hypermobile and have joint issues, you need strength, not stretching, because we can stretch easily.
Too easily.
Too easily, yes. So it's strength.
Sometimes.
And that's always something that you keep in mind about what options you choose to keep strong and fit, particularly as you age. And as you age, the body deteriorates, and very quickly, much more quickly. So you have to keep the regularity.
And so it sounds like it would be fair to say, you tell me if we're wrong here, but fair to say you were fairly motivated to find some form of exercise that would help you. And so having not found that initially, because you possibly tried other forms of exercises,
Absolutely.
maybe I think you mentioned Tai Chi, and you found that they really didn't work for you as well as you would like them to, at least. And then you found us, and found that Claire and our systems were able to start you on a journey where you could see that you were going to get benefit from it.
And that's a very important point. Start you from the beginning, not where you think you would be, but actually where the body has placed you in that spectrum of where to start and what to focus on. And that takes adjustment, because you always think you're better than you are when it comes to fitness, because I walk or I do this. But the reality is that, particularly with the Ehlers-Danlos, you really have to listen to your body, because it'll just decide that it's not playing with you today and goes out on strike.
How else did that manifest with your movement, with your mobility, the everyday things that you might be trying to do?
I'm one of the lucky ones. It hasn't overly impacted me until the last 18 months. I've been able to skim through life pretty easily. I've never had core strength. And as I said, I can't run for love or money. I can't jog. I've tried, but the body doesn't like it. And I've always had weak arms. I find opening jars are just not difficult for me now, but forever. I'm not a jar open. I don't have that wrist strength.
Is that why you had to bring your husband down from Queensland, so he could open jars for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And do the maths for everything.
Do
the maths, yes. Maths and I don't agree with each other, so no.
Opening jars and maths, that's a good job description?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair.
So always careful of what type of shoes I wore, and you ignore it at your peril in your youth, and you pay for it as you grow older. So the impact, as I said, I'm one of the lucky ones that hasn't had none of my joint sublux. My daughter and my brother and his two girls, they've got something else that's another connective tissue disease this time, but I'm not even like my daughter, that her neck goes out, shoulder subluxes. I'm a very good masseuse. But you learn to live within your limitations, and if you can accept that, then you've actually got a very full life. It's just that No, you don't go jogging or you don't go water skiing, and you learn to live with that. So I can't really tell you all the adjustments because you do it subconsciously because you want to live your life and you want to be active. So you consciously look for things that are going to be low impact, maximum result, and yet benefit from being ready for whatever life throws at you.
So enter the line dancing there, and you found something that you really enjoy.
Oh, my family would say obsessed, but I say passionate. So, yes, and again, it ticks line dancing and Pilates tick all the boxes for brain health, belonging to a community, the quality of the relationship, learning something new, putting the body into action, and having fun. I think if you look, there's a pattern of what I look for in my activities. And I find that Pilates and line dancing, swimming not so much on the community, but
And it's interesting that you mentioned community first there as the thing that you mentioned first. Anyway, maybe not always the most important, but you mentioning it first, it is important, isn't it?
it is. And latest research says it's not only community, but it's the quality of the relationship. And I've made so many new friends, and Pilates classes are always fun. There's always laughter. So I think as well as the community, there's the quality of the interaction with people.
Yeah, it's not just surface level stuff, is it? It's
No.
because how you are able to be mobile within the rest of your life outside of Pilates and with other things that you're doing, like your line dancing, they're very important things. So you're hearing about other people's bodies and they're hearing about your
Absolutely.
body.
And it gives you a reality check that, hey, you're not so bad after all.
Yes.
Somebody else has had a similar struggle or a worse struggle. So instead of feeling poor me, you go out and you think, I'm not so bad after all.
That is clientele
Yeah.
like yourself, Kerry, looking for the positives that they can get out of life and the positives that they can bring to even a Pilates session to that community, and to be able to, because it can be a little bit of give and take in that semi-private type environment
absolutely.
as well. And we really appreciate the great clientele that we have that do have that very unselfish approach to the whole way it works. And that, in the end, that means everyone benefits much
absolutely.
more.
You always come away from Pilates feeling great, but you've also learned so many things, what's going on in Canberra or what's happening. So it's never a dull moment. And we do exercise as a side bit, yes.
Yes, occasionally do some exercise. Claire in particular prides herself on keeping people moving, even when they are talking, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so because you experienced some Pilates elsewhere and other movements, so you had some initial expectations of what it might be like. And are there any other things you can tell us about the subsequent experiences that you had with Pilates, or perhaps unexpected changes that you experienced after coming along for a few months?
I think a lot of the changes are in a way subliminal, where you start with the springs and then all of a sudden you're moving up. Oh, you must be getting stronger, or you're getting stronger. And you think, I'm feeling good, or you move better. Just at the moment, I am rehabbing from piriformis syndrome. And a friend of mine that does Pilates as well as line dancing, and we cross over. And she said, oh, you're moving so much better. And I thought, oh, that's noticeable. I am feeling a lot better than I did when we first started fixing it. I think it's in subtle ways that you don't get off a chair and you think, oh, God, that was the wrong thing to do. Or you know how to get up. You know, you've learned what flow of your body like. So I think you're not really conscious, for me, of saying, oh, yes, okay, so now I'm going to get up this way. Just with the practice you do and the flow of your body. So without doing Pilates, I couldn't line dance. I couldn't move because my joints were so stiff, and I couldn't swim. If you can't move, you can't do anything. And Pilates is the key to movement in my book. That's how I look at what improvement or benefit.
And look, we obviously totally agree with that
Yeah.
because we've dedicated our lives and our business lives at least to being able to deliver
Yeah.
Pilates in the best way possible. And part of that delivery, we always like to say to people, particularly when they first come to us, is that what we're trying to help people establish is an excellent Pilates exercise habit. And,
Yes.
and the reason we say it like that is because we know that if they can achieve that excellent Pilates exercise habit, then they will probably get results. They will realize that they're moving better and able to do other things. So I'm interested in your view on what are some of the keys for you to create that excellent Pilates exercise habit, and what does that look like for you?
I think I'm an obsessive type person. My family will tell me, a dog with a bone, don't let it go. I think also initially is all I wanted to do was to be able to keep moving. And that's really important. Build strength, because without strength you can't move. I've had lots of interruptions along the way with health issues and
Yes.
that. I think what keeps you going is, you recognise that after a month or 2 months, your body seizes up. You're not as fluid in your movement. And, that ad from many years ago, which will tell you how old I am, when you're on a good thing, stick to it.
Yes.
And you don't need to change it and you don't need to modify it, because the exercises are modified for what your body is doing on the day, in the moment, as well as where you wish to progress to. So why have I kept it? Because I love coming. You build relationships, friendships. Claire is a body whisperer, and I can't describe it any other way. And you know what your body won't do when you don't do it. And I haven't found anything that equals or surpasses it. And yes, I'm obsessive compulsive about line dancing. It's good, but it doesn't do what Pilates does.
It sounds to me like your line dancing is a celebration of what Pilates enables you to do.
Well said, yes. I think that's it exactly.
Which is fantastic
Yeah.
to be able to do that and to enjoy that and to realize the contrast when and if at those times when you haven't been
Yeah.
able to do things, that's when you miss things.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And I also really like when we go down the coast to walk on the beach. And walking on sand is a trick if your body's not in concert with itself.
yes,
So that's the other thing that gives me great joy, is to just walk on the sand on the beach.
it's a simple pleasure
Very simple, but very complex if it's not working.
and very enjoyable, as you say.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could also share with us, has it had any impact on your family?
They know not to put anything on the days I go to Pilates at the time slot. Yes. What's grandma or mum doing? Pilates. Oh, okay. All right. So that's one impact it's had.
It does sound like that you've got regular days to do
Yes, I do.
Pilates.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the best way to be.
How many days a week?
Twice.
Twice a week. Okay.
And it's twice weekly that this body needs to actually be able to function, full stop, but then do the things I really enjoy doing.
Okay, so twice a week really does help you.
Yeah.
Did you start with one a week or twice?
Well, it's interesting. I started twice a week, I
was
think.
it? Because generally we will recommend just once a week to a new person. And the reason for that is so that they're not overcome for their lifestyle, what other things they're doing. And it's just another thing that ends up stressing them out more by having to come 2 or 3 times a week. But is at that stage when they realize, hey, this is really good.
Oh, yeah.
It works for me. I'll progress to 2 or even 3 a week. Some people do. And then they realize the benefits of that as well. So it's a fairly common sort of a progression.
Last year, I was only able to do one a week. And then in October, I had a drop attack where I broke my wrist.
Oh.
Fell down. We still don't know why. So that's why it's called the drop attack.
A
Then you
drop
go,
attack.
yeah.
That's the first I've heard
Heard of it?
that.
Oh, most people fall because they tripped, they slipped, or they overbalanced or whatever. I don't think I did any of that.
None of those. You just
No.
dropped.
Had a drop, yeah.
Okay.
One of my specialists said, don't like that. The cardiologist just calls it a drop attack.
And that can happen. Something happened to me 20 years ago, teaching body pump. And I was working quite hard. When you're teaching that sort of thing,
Aerobic intensity.
yeah, you want to be a good example. But unfortunately, I overtaxed myself and I started breathing shallowly.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wasn't getting enough oxygen in, and I
Yeah.
still tried to work through that. And then eventually I ended up fainting at one point. So it was just the lack of oxygen to the head.
Yeah.
And my brain was trying to tell me, lie down, David, so you can get the oxygen back to the brain.
Yeah.
So
That really reinforced, because for 3 weeks I really was immobile. People with casts on out and about after 3 weeks because you can move your arm without the pain. So mine was a wrist, the ulnar and the whatever it is. And then I came back once a week and we started on the lower body. And then when the cast came off, then we had to start back again with strength in the wrists and all the exercises for that, as well as the body, so that the left wrist could catch up with where the rest of the body was. So that's one of the journeys I've done.
And that's very interesting because you already had a foundation of Pilates.
Yes.
So you've come across this life challenge, as everyone does, where you've had a drop attack, you've broken your arm. When you came back to Pilates, you already had a baseline of things that you knew how to do, and
Yes.
you didn't have to go through the process and waste time, perhaps becoming associated with Pilates for the first time. You already had that there. And
Yeah. And a bit of muscle memory did help to make the transition and the rehab back into where I was before that happened.
Yes, to get that recovery happening quickly
Yeah.
and more effectively without delay, because what we have found with people that might come after many years of trying to perhaps deal with an injury or a condition, but not really very effectively, and eventually they find Pilates and they find that it is a good answer for
Yeah, it
them.
is.
But if they had started it 20 years previously, then it would have been better for them
Yeah.
to have done that.
Yeah, and it's always better to have these things happen to you with, exactly as you say, with that background of good body movement and strength, because that does do a lot of benefit for you when you are recovering.
And there could well be more challenges like that down the track, as there are for many people.
Yeah.
And that gives you confidence as well, I think, that, okay, I've had this setback, but
Yeah.
I know how to do this now, and I know where to go and what to do and how to do it. And my body will probably react well.
And I think
Yeah.
that's a really important point. Psychologically, you know you will get back. It's just you have to do the work.
It's no good unless you turn up.
That's right.
And this is where we often refer when speaking to possibly new people, that our model is, people are paying for what they're doing and for coming along. They're not paying for a gym membership, where in many circumstances it seems they're paying insurance not to exercise because they're paying this direct debit for their gym exercise and they're not showing up.
No,
That's
right.
And they're kidding themselves.
Yeah.
But with the model that we have with clinical Pilates, with these sort of studios, which many of our listeners own that may be listening to this episode, is very important that we realise the difference between our business models. It's a harder business model because
I'm sure it is.
Because we have to be part of that process with the clients of helping them to realise that this is something they need to do and turn up to. And that's just harder.
And one of the things that really impresses me with Pilates Can is how Claire and her teams of instructors work to support the rehabilitation of each client, regardless of what it is that each client is rehabbing from.
And you know what they call that with our instructors? It's a very good culture, and I think it's generally out there in our sort of niche industry.
Market, yeah.
They call that problem solving. Someone has a problem, and that's what they love. They love to solve that problem and to help solve that problem. So that's the mental attitude they have. They look at it as a puzzle to be put together and solved, because the body has a lot of ability to help itself if it's not badly treated and if it's encouraged in the right way. And so Claire and her team in our business and around the world with other businesses like us, that's their attitude. A problem presents and how we're going to help the client. And it is a partnership, isn't it? It's not just we're not expecting you to do all the work and a good client isn't expecting the instructor to do all the work. It's a partnership where there's got to be energy and information and decisions made along the way.
Claire always asks, and her team always asks what's going on, what's happening. You've just come back from having knee surgery. What does the orthopaedic surgeon say? What does the physio say? What exercises do they want you to do? And I think that's really important too, because as you go through this rehab journey, you don't always get to see your specialist because he's relying on the people you go to know what he's talking about or she's talking about so that they can build you up. And when you go back in 3 or 4 months, they expect to see improvement. And that's what Pilates Can does. It gives you that rehab of individual exercises to make sure that the knee surgery is successful, that the hip surgery has worked, that whatever it is you've done.
Thanks for drawing attention to that process and that approach. It is a matter of a holistic approach where Claire and the team, they do their best to interlink with those other allied health and medicos when possible. But also, as you mentioned right at the start of this discussion, it's about where is the client at every individual session. So where are they at when they turn up for their very first session? But 6 months, 6 years later, on the day they turn up, where are they at? Because things do change. And if you're not meeting a client where they're at and how they feel on the day and what they've experienced in the last week or whatever it might be, then you're really starting from a false base there. So I applaud the fantastic job that Claire and the team do. And that is, as I mentioned earlier, replicated around the world with other people doing that, where they're prepared to start again every time with clients and every session and repeat that. It's doing the right thing every time. So I really like having these discussions because it helps me to understand what the good things are about what we do and how we do it and how to do things better. And that's something I'm reminded from years of work in this industry, that there's no major fantastic thing that you can do. It's doing the good things consistently and continually every time.
As well as having a person by your side, just giving you a little nudge here or showing you the technique that you haven't quite got. That's important too, that you're not left on your own to do your own program, that there is always an instructor there to demonstrate, to help you on the equipment and to make sure you're doing it as it should be or to the best of your ability that you can do at that point in time. That's important too.
That's right, because that's challenging for an instructor as well, to provide the right amount of attention for 3 or 4 people in a semi-private session in an environment where someone could be presenting with quite a difficult body at that point in time. That could happen for all 4 people in the session, usually not. And so the instructor has to be able to quickly focus their attention, get someone doing the right thing, and then move on and help someone else. So that there's a lot of focus, there's a lot of giving there of their attitudes.
It's a hallmark of what you come to expect and appreciate coming.
It's like going to a good restaurant, isn't it?
That's right.
And getting the right service, as well as the right food, as well as the right decor and everything else.
And you feel confident in recommending it to other people, but then you have to let them make up their own mind when they don't take up what you recommended.
Yes, you can lead a horse to water.
That's absolutely correct.
You can lead someone to the Pilates front door.
But you can't make them go in and do it.
They might even go in. They might not necessarily do it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And we have the attitude, Kerry, that really we're looking after the people that want what we do. So I'm always in a sales situation with a new client. We're always saying it is up to you. We're not going to convince you that you have to do this, because you need to bring what you bring, Kerry, to the party, your energy, your tenacity, your stick-to-itness, as you said.
Body.
your bad and your bad body. Yeah, there's a real need there for
Yeah.
us to help solve problems with
Yeah.
you there. And I say with you because it is. It's that partnership between
Yeah.
clients, not only clients and instructors, but clients and other clients, which
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes. That's an important component that, there's no prima donna there in the semi-private classes, an acceptance that everybody has needs and there's only one or two instructors depending on the number of people in the room. That's an important component.
yes, that ability to work as a team, even amongst
With
clients,
clients, yeah.
with the instructor.
Because when you're needy and when you're not needy,
Yes.
and as you said, that's an important part of the relationship between the clients.
I think so. It's certainly an important part that instructors recognise straight away because they're maybe coming to and being part of 5 sessions in a day, maybe 3 to 5 times per week or more in some cases. And that for them can be challenging if there's not that cooperative environment. So it's great to hear, and that's what I would expect, that a terrific client like yourself would just for the record, Kerry's lifted her eyes
to the ceiling.
Looked at the ceiling there. But it is true. That's and we're just lucky enough, having made our luck over the last 25 years, to have many clients like Kerry. So we've gone through quite a bit, and that's been terrific. This one that is important, that maybe we'll discover something else, and that's how Pilates makes you feel. Like, how do you feel to be enabled? Like your emotions, your feeling. Yeah.
Well, after a Pilates session, I always feel very light, which is the place to be.
Yes.
So I wish I was able to stay as light as I could between sessions, but always the body decides something different. How does it enable me, or how do I feel? I feel very pleased with myself that I've found something that works. What that does is it takes the stress out of worrying, what else do I have to do? What do I have to find? That's not working. So I think, having found it, I think you can relax in that area of, I'm doing absolutely the best thing I can do, and I don't look for anything else. I know what works for my body, and Pilates works the very best for my body in all aspects.
Excellent. I think a good explanation about why we have so many clients that have been coming for so many years, consistently for so many years, which for a lot of businesses out there, that would be unusual. People come and go. And we do have a little bit of people travel overseas.
But they always come back.
And they come back, and they come back to our Pilates. And I think that's consistent around the world with good Pilates studios like Pilates Can here in Canberra, but they're all over the world with dedicated people doing a similar job. And those clients are having the same experience of, I've found something that works for me. I'm going to keep doing this because I know these other things didn't work. And even if I do try something else,
I don't feel comfortable, or I don't feel that's me.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
I don't have anything else,
No,
Kerry,
I
on
don't
my
either.
list. I think it's been a terrific discussion, and we hope to see you for many more years.
I hope to be around for many more years.
Pilates Can, and I'm sure you will be. Yeah, thank you for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you for asking me.
Pleasure. So that's Kerry's story, proof of what our brand of personalised precision Pilates can make possible. It's about what those hours of practice unlock for the client's life outside the studio, dancing, laughing, walking freely, living on their own terms. This is a wonderful reminder we all need from time to time, that strength isn't just muscle, it's permission to keep doing the things you love, even when life tests you. If Kerry's journey struck a chord, think about the clients you serve, or the clients you could serve, who might be waiting for that same bridge back to movement, because this is what Series 11, Pilates Can Change Lives, is all about. Real people, real transformations, real proof. I'll leave you with this. Pilates isn't the end goal. It's the way back to the life your clients want and can have through your fantastic services. As a personalised Pilates studio business owner or instructor, You are a champion for other people's quality of life. You're a mobility hero. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value here, make sure you follow the Pilates Business Podcast so you don't miss out on the next episode in this series. Until then, keep moving, keep building, and keep changing lives.
You have been listening to the Pilates Business Podcast with David Gunther. If you are enjoying the show, let us know by subscribing and leaving a review. For more information, or if you have any Pilates business questions, visit www.pilatesbusiness.com.au.